I think I'd like to express my concerns and my blessings and things that we come up. And I appreciate you all being here, really do. It's wonderful to have your voices here. For 2, maybe 3 years, I long for your voices, really do. Because without seeing you and being with you face to face, we're not able to really talk to one another as relatives. I really appreciate that. And just to let you know, I just caught word that Chairman's not going to be here today. So I'll do my due diligence as my oath and fill in the best I can. I need everybody's help. I'm not accustomed to Robert's Rules of Order. To me, it's very colonial. I like to do things that are more indigenous, shared decision-making. That's my style. So with that, let's go ahead and begin. Let's go live. You ready? Okay. But anyway, Deputy Chad Cornell, P.B. Wardy. I'm filling in for our chairman. I understand he has an emergency, so we'll do our best. That's what we do. We're sworn to step up if the occasion has to arise, and I don't know the circumstance, but our feelings and our support go to him and his family, whatever they may be. I have no idea. I just got the message recently, so to get ready and prep and all the things that I do and put some gas in my tank so I can get here. That's a part of what we're about. So I'd like to call upon prayer to get started before the roll call to order. Andy, could you give us a prayer in our language? Because I love our language. It's spiritual, and we're spiritual people. We're sacred people. And our language is such as that. And so, nasutai, as we begin. No. I don't know if you need a microphone, Terrence.
Rita. Is it on? Mm-hmm. Okay. Before I even start the prayer, ite ta numanain tan na ta numeregwap. Mohas kurana my kamak. This is very important to us. I am very adamant about our language. Y'all have heard me say it many times that I am adamant about the way we take care of it. Mamavisia. Use it every day. It don't, even if you just say 2-3 words a day, you're saying something. You're speaking in your language. So, let's consider that. With that said, Tainansu Taikatuna. Hatsumeok. Nama, God. Pautsis as a Nanyavana, a Nasutsa Waikat. Eka Namahanina, Nama Nanamani, Numi Iyakati. Manaik Namanaikata, Namamayut, Sik Namikauka, Tsako Namisutaikat, Eka Namahanituekatu, Namimugieka, Utsayunairaka, Namitsapunikat, Namamayut, Namimunik, Suniku Tsakoeka, Namahanina, Kema, Ait, Tsakunana, Sikanama, Numanaina, Hanituina, Ta Nemanama, Nanama, Ikinamamunak Yukwikata, Marimuneka, Kasuret Mada, Eka Tsakunami Hanikatuina, Ikatevo Fatsakunam, Namibuni Kako. Tsahakun sunikumai hanitui. Itasa usuni namanana mana sisama manaik namanai kata siika unikat, nämä maisut, saako siika taveni. Nahina aiti ura hoiti ura tapo jaasi saako veti sameakka siika taveni. Osuni ura maisu. Ojoka nämä naanamana manaiki nämänaikat, suri sutaikat, saako veti hanik, eikä ura nivaina saako uri sameakkat, uri hanikka sunikakka, Jesus. Ojoka nämä naanamani, sik ökitsi, nämä hanituekatu, saako maaka nämä markaruekatu, sunikko nämä sutaiapka, eikä nämä Numerikuapa, saako maakaan nämä mavitsiaruikat, nämä sytää synikkaapkaa, Jesus, nansuakaa. Älä.
To me, prayer starts with everything. It's first. Raka. And with that, I'd just like to thank you all for being here. We'll start with our agenda. We'll call to order this meeting, July 1st, 2023, and all the activities that are going on that we celebrate who we are and our legacy as Numina people. So as you go out today, I just hope that and pray that everybody be safe, everybody be good relatives, and just express the legacy that we have, especially for our children. They'll hear our voice. And I'd like to say welcome to those that are on live stream, particularly those that are students of tribal government. As you begin to view what we're doing, it's important that we're doing our work, the due diligence of nation building. That's called nationhood. And so we move into that because I know a lot of university classes, they view not only ours, but other government structures and try to examine it. I know I do in my classes. So. Secretary Treasurer, John David Juanine, could you give us a roll call, please?
Mark Wimavoya, Chairman. Dr. Cornell Pee Wee Wardy, Vice Chairman.
Here.
Hazel Tassequah, Committee Woman number 1.
Here.
Ross Carrara, Committeeman number 2.
Here.
Alice Katznavoyd, Committee Woman number 3.
Here.
Jordan Fox, Committee number 4.
Here.
You have a quorum, Vice Chairman.
Thank you very much. I
I'd like
appreciate
to
it.
make a motion to accept the agenda for today.
Second.
A motion on the floor. Let me get out my notes. I'm not accustomed to, so I have to make a lot of notes today. There's a motion on the floor to accept the agenda by Alice Castonvoid. And let me see, that would be committee person number 3. Seconded by our Secretary Treasurer, John David Juanine. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. So we do accept that, and thank you very much. So the agenda has been accepted. I do not see the administrative reports here. So is that something that, Janelle?
Yes, Chairman Womavoya asked me to remove those from the agenda per the attorney.
Per the attorney?
Yes.
Is
Was,
Attorney, could you respond?
Do I have it on right? Okay. So I was not involved in the discussion to remove those reports. Those must have been with another member of our team. So I am unaware why Chairman requested those to be removed. It was not discussed with me.
Okay. Thank you. I've never seen you before. Could you introduce yourself?
Yes, definitely. I'm Tony Bradley Smith, and I am with Crow and Dunlevy. And I'm very excited to be here. This is my first CBC meeting, and I'm just very thankful to be here and honored to be representing your tribe.
Thank you very much.
Vice Chair?
Yes.
If I could, Attorney, if you would, can you contact your firm to see why those were removed?
Yes, sir, I
Thank
can.
you.
I'll see if I can send an email to my team. So the team that primarily represents the Comanche Nation would be myself, Mike McBride, or Randall Yates. Currently, Mike is in Italy and Randall is in Alaska. So I'm going to email them right now to see if I can get somebody to answer that question for you while we're here in the meeting.
Okay, thank you.
Oh, thank you very much. Yes.
Dr. Milton Sobo, I had applied for a company under the Comanche Nation as tax commission, and it was tabled because you needed more information, and I was going to do that through the reports, but I guess I would ask now if what information you need, because I certainly gave you what was on the file and what the state usually requires for a company. And my reason for doing the tribal application was any tax I wanted to go to the tribe rather than the state. But it's basically just a company working within the reservation of the Comanche Nation.
Mr.
And
Sobo.
is there any question or information that,
Mr. Sovo, I would pause and perhaps you could be a part of the old or new business today.
okay.
Would that be
that's-
okay?
That's fine.
All right, thank you very much. I'd like to have this opportunity because I enjoy voice. I would like any of our CBC at this point and start over here with Jordan Fox to give you any comments, announcements, greetings, and we'll just kind of go down the line because I've never witnessed this in a long time, and I know that's a part of some of the protocol that I witnessed as a little boy coming to these meetings. So I'm going to allow voice right now. Jordan, do you have anything you'd like to share with our Comanche people?
Vice Chair, I just have a point of order. We've already accepted the agenda for today. So I think that any of anything else, any other announcements or anything should come after in new or old business.
Okay. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. That's a really good lesson for those students, and I'm a student, so I really appreciate that. Thank you very much. So we'll move on to, I guess we have a lot of resolutions. And so, because we just got our books, let me start with, if I could ask any of those that would like to participate in the readings of our resolutions, that'd be great. So,
I'd like to make a motion to approve the meeting minutes from the June 2023 meeting.
Mr. Vice Chairman, we have to follow our agenda. We have to go through the minutes of last month's meeting, please, before we move forward into resolutions.
I agree with you, but I don't see that here. That's the reason why.
Yeah, it's listed
It's under invocation.
Under 3 minutes of meeting.
Oh, okay, under the minutes of the, all right. So minutes of the meeting, June 2023. CBC, you had an opportunity to look at your books. Do you have any motions that you'd like to entertain at this moment to review, to accept the minutes? Have you had a chance to look at those? Did you
I've
make-
already made the motion to accept
Okay.
them.
Motion's on the floor. Alice Castle-Void, committee person number 3, makes a motion to accept the minutes of June 2023. Was there a second? Seconded by Hazel.
Second.
Hazel, Hazel Toscawa, committee person number 1. All in favor, accept the minutes of June 2023.
Aye.
Aye. Unanimous? Aye. Unanimous. The minutes passed. Thank you very much for that correction. So we're moving to resolution number 61, 2021, which is enrollment eligibility resolution list number 1294. 1294. 1, 2.
Cornell,
Yes.
Alice usually reads the enrollment resolutions, if you would like to ask her to do that.
If you would?
I will.
Okay.
Okay, list number 1294. Starting at the second whereas, the list includes the names of applicants who have been verified as eligible pursuant to Article 3, Section 1C, membership of the Constitution of the Comanche Nation, which states, all descendants of allottees eligible for membership under the provision of Section 1A of the article having 1/8 or more degree of Comanche Indian blood, and now therefore be it resolved that the Comanche Business Committee accept the verification of eligibility for the applicants as shown on list number 1294 by the Comanche Nation Enrollment Office. And be it further resolved that the Comanche Nation Enrollment Office notify the eligible applicant by letter of their approved membership, and further that the enrolled member be provided information concerning their enrollment, including name, date of birth, roll number, social security number, and degree of Comanche blood. Those being added today are Hayes Chambers, Aaliyah Escobar, Grayson Gailey, L.E.B. Irby, Kennedy Ivy, Amara Kleincole, Lyndon Littlebird, Randy Littlebird, Graham Laura, Anton Mancini, Araya Marquez, Noah Palmer, Angel Portillo, Derek Roach, Adele Ross, Summer Sleeper, Sadie Sullivan, Heston Tihai, Warava Toad, Corbin Hankins, Angelina Whitebird, and Austin Whitebird Jr.
All right, thank you very much. So we'll go to the
I make a motion to approve.
motion by Alice Castlewood, second by Ross Carrabba, committee person number 2. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Unanimous, Shendell. Motion approved. We'll go to the second resolution. Resolution number 62, 2023, enrollment eligibility enrollment list 1295, audits. This is same, Alice.
Okay. Starting at the third whereas, the list of applicants are considered adults but have not been enrolled in any other tribe, and the documentary evidence is on file with the enrollment office. And now therefore be it resolved that the Comanche Business Committee accept the verification of eligibility for the applicants as shown on list number 1295 by the Comanche Nation Enrollment Office. And be it further resolved that the Comanche Nation Enrollment Office notify the eligible applicant by letter of their approved membership, and further that the enrolled member be provided information concerning their enrollment, including name, date of birth, roll number, social security number, and degree of Comanche blood. Those being added, Gabrielle Caleb, Michael Ivy, and Cameron Blum.
Thank you very much. Do I hear a motion?
I make the motion to approve.
Second.
Motion by Alice Castlewood, number 3, Ross Carrara, number 2. All in favor?
Aye.
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 Motion approved. Resolution number 63, 2023, CBC Bank Signature BIA 4432 forms. Anybody would like to read that resolution? I'll read. It would be the 1, 2. This is a resolution, Comanche Business Committee, signature authority for BIA 4432 forms. Whereas, I'll go to 1, 2, 3, fourth whereas the Comanche Business Committee hereby designates the following authorized signatures. Mark Womavoya, Chairman. Dr. Cornell P.B. Wardy, Vice Chairman. John D. Wani, Secretary Treasurer. Hazel Tassaquah, Committeeman number 1. Ross Carrara, Committee Person number 2. Alice Castlewood, Committee Person number 3. Jordan Fox, committee person number 4, Julia Mansky, tribal administrator, to sign a verification of Indian preference for employment form, BIA 4432. Now therefore be it resolved, the Comanche Business Committee hereby authorizes the above names mentioned to sign BIA 4432 forms. There we go. Do I hear a motion?
I make the motion, I second.
Motion by Secretary Treasurer and second by Alice Casavoid, committee person number 3. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Unanimous. This resolution passes on signatures. The next resolution, number 64, 2023, CBC Bank Signature Resolution. Resolution of the Comanche Business Committee changing authorized inquiry as signatures on financial accounts. 1, 2, 3. I think I'll go to the third whereas. Whereas the Comanche Business Committee is a duly elected official body designated to conduct business for and behalf of the Comanche Nation, and whereas the Comanche Business Committee has determined that it is in the best interest of the Comanche Nation to identify officials who currently have signature authority for the Comanche Nation accounts at the financial institutions listed below, and now therefore be it resolved that the Comanche Business Committee hereby authorizes the following persons named in Table A to have the designated authority for the accounts identified in Table B, which are holding funds in the name and for the benefit of the Comanche Nation. This document shall nullify any previous documents. Table A, the official title would be Mark Womavoya, Chairman, Record Access, Record Copies, Investment Direction. Dr. Cornell P.B. Wardy, Vice Chairman, Disbursement, Record Access, Record Copies, Investment Direction. John David Wani, Secretary Treasurer, Disbursement, Record Access, Record Copies, Investment Direction. Hazel Tassaquah, Committee Person number 1, Record Access, Record Copies. Ross Carrara, number 2, Record Access, Record Copies. Alice Castlavoid, Disbursement, Record Access, Record Copies. Jordan Fox, number 4, Disbursement, Record Access, Record Copies. Julie Mansky, Record Access, Record Copies.
I make the motion to approve.
Second.
Motion on the table, Alice Castlavoid, number 3, seconded by Ross Carrara, number 2. All in favor of this resolution?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes. Resolution number 65, 2023, CBC OST signature resolutions. Resolution Comanche Business Committee, OST signatures. I'll go to the third whereas. Whereas the Office of the Special Trustee requires signatures on the investment accounts. And now therefore be it resolved that the Comanche Business Committee hereby designate the following authorized signatures. Mark Womavoya, Chairman, Cornell P.B. Wardy, Vice Chairman, John D. Wani, Secretary Treasurer, Hazel Tassaquah, Committee Person number 1, Ross Carrara, Committee Person number 2, Alice Castlavoid, Committee Person number 3, Jordan Fox, Committee Person number 4. Be it further resolved that the Comanche Business Committee hereby authorizes the above names mentioned to sign the Office of the Special Trustee forms. This document shall nullify any previous documents. Do I hear a motion?
Motion to approve.
Second.
Motion by Jordan Fox, number 3, seconded by Alice Castlewood, number 3. No, Jordan Fox, number 4, Alice, number 3. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes unanimously. Resolution number 66, 2023. Native American organizations and students at Cameron University resolution. Resolution to support the Native student organizations and students at Cameron University. And I will move to the 5th resolution. Whereas the Comanche Business Committee has established as a key priority within the Comanche Nation to strengthen its educational capacity by planning an educational summit in 2023 with a charge to develop a more comprehensive strategic plan to respond to the growing and expanding educational needs of Comanche citizens. And whereas educational advancement opportunities, including the Native American Student Association and Gamma Delta Pi sorority, is critical to the continued success and well-being of the sovereign Comanche Nation and representative tribal communities, as our students bear a responsibility under the Comanche Business Committee leadership to maintain and support the educational, social, cultural, economic, health, and environmental prosperity of the Comanche Nation and representative communities now into the future. And whereas the Comanche and Native American students attending Cameron University are engaged in student leadership development programs and organizations, including but not limited to the Cameron University Native American Student Association and Gamma Delta Pi sorority. And whereas the Comanche Business Committee appreciates the academic support and cultural programming provided by Cameron University departments, service support programs, but not limited to NASA's hosting of the annual Indigenous Peoples Day celebration and annual powwow, each of which contribute to ensuring Native American student educational achievement, student personal development, student recruitment and retention, and the coordination and advancement of Native students' initiatives at Cameron University. Whereas the Comanche Business Committee recognizes the historical legacy of advocacy led by generations of Cameron University Native staff, faculty, students, supported by Cameron University students, faculty and staff, and community members to develop priorities and requests to supplement existing infrastructure and benefit Comanche Nation and Native American student engagement, retention, and educational outcomes at Cameron University. Whereas these student-led priorities are supported and requested by the American Indian Student Association and Task Force for the Recruitment and Retention of American Indian Students at Cameron University. Their recommendations and demands in the task force report is framed in indigenous leadership theory, evidence-based research, relationship-based cultural pedagogy, greatly benefits from indigenous leadership, epistemologies, and the transformation of practice, policy, and structure. Whereas Native American administration, faculty, staff at Cameron University are presently and have historically been underrepresented and invisible within the university's long-range strategic planning, and therefore be it resolved that the Comanche Business Committee encourage formal discussions, integration of the Cameron University Master Plan 2025 initiatives that include not only diversity, equity, access, inclusion, but a master plan that braids together indigeneity, sovereignty, and relationality. And now therefore be it resolved, the Comanche Business Committee appreciates, supports, endorses the final report of the recruitment and retention of the American Indian students at Cameron University. And be it finally resolved, the Comanche Business Committee is hereby authorized to do all that is necessary to carry out the intentions of this resolution. Do I hear a motion on the floor?
Mr. Chairman,
I have
I
a
think,
question about this.
Yes.
What type of framework, it's saying we can do anything, but I think we need to have some type of structure on our intent and our purpose. like establishing a major or minor at Cameron, or Comanche language class. Who are going to be the professors, adjunct professors, who pays for the teachers. I just want to do this in a good way and not just have free reign at going at Cameron.
Yeah.
We need to know what their policies are for establishing new courses.
Yeah.
You know, it's great to be advocates, and I support everything that's said in here, but we need some type of structure as to what is allowable and not just having free reign at doing whatever.
Yeah, thank you very much, Mr. Kerr. I think that's really important. I think the recommendations that we come to the table with Cameron University and talk about this through their planning. So that way we at least have voice. And we have some of the representatives here in the audience that would like to speak in to that effort. Cindy from Merrill, would you like to speak to the effort of trying to work within the framework of Cameron University and support the Native students at Cameron?
I can. So it's been a long time coming. I was a student back in 1989, and I was not a very welcome student. There was no places of our indigeneity there. There were probably less instructors there as well. So I actually dropped out, along with other things. But coming back as an adult learner, it's the same stuff. There's nothing different. We do have the NASA that has had a great impact. However, we do all of our functionings based on fundraising. There's not much support from any of the tribes. We do have some council members that come in and try to support, but we've had this task force unit going on since 2017, I believe, or 18. COVID really relinquished our us coming together. However, just recently we did get with Jared Phillips, who is right under the president, and he was really open to this task force. There was some people from the Kiowa tribe. There was Ekia from higher ed. And so we asked a lot of people to come in. I think they're just a little bit shy, again, from meeting in person, but they were open. They were open to seeing and understanding what we're asking. We're not asking for more than any other Native American Student Association. There's many other student associations that have way more support than Cameron students. And so I know that we have a lot of educated Comanche people. And so we would like to bring up the fact that this is a good place to be, that it's our local university. It's not like you are at OU or you have to drive, an hour or 15, 20 minutes to get where you got to go. But this is a good place to be. And they should have, we do have a number of students there. So they should have a good space for us, and that is not happening. So I think with this resolution that it would create a bridge to doing that. It's not saying that, we have the framework yet. It's just saying that we want to do that. And so I've always been able to appreciate the Comanche Nation for doing what they do. But I think with our higher education that we need to do more, especially with Cameron University.
Okay. All right, thank you. Do I hear a motion on the floor?
I would like to just say, as a member of Gamma Delta Pi, we require a MOU before we get into partnership with anybody, and it has to go before our membership. And so before you drafted this, do you have an MOU with Cameron, Gamma Delta Pi?
No, there's no MOU. Actually, that's what some of the initiatives were about to come to the table and talk to. We did have membership of NASA and Gamma Delta Pi that are part of the task force, and that's why they're listed.
Okay, well, I am going to make a motion that we table this until we can actually meet with some of these students and the Sisterhood of Gamma Delta Pi, because as I stated, I am an alumni member, and before we go into and incorporate with anybody, we have to have our membership votes.
We actually asked them to be at this meeting with Jared Phillips this couple of weeks ago, and nobody responded. That's the current of people. So I'm not
Well,
sure
it's
how to do it.
summertime,
Well,
and
I mean,
so,
we're still students.
well, I'm just saying as a member of Gamma Delta Pi, we
Well,
require
now you have it, and
that.
so you should make that happen, please.
Well, if you guys set something up, I'll be happy to attend.
Perfect. Perfect.
So my motion is to table this.
Vice Chairman.
Yes, sir.
I would like to say, first of all, that our Constitution takes education very seriously. And Alice, I appreciate your comments too. But Vice Chairman, if you could you read some of the bullet points in this report? I think they're very important that our people understand these bullet points. Can you cover those quickly?
Sure.
You've got them there under your executive summary.
There has been,
Your little bullet points.
sure.
If you can cover those quickly with our people, I think they'll get a better understanding
Yeah.
of what I think you're trying to get accomplished.
Yeah, just like Cindy said, and this has been a task force that was organized maybe 4 years ago, and it was prior to COVID-19, so we were ongoing for a couple of years, and this is prior to even me being, on the CBC. At that time, I was the educational liaison appointed by then Chairman Nelson to try to be the educational conduit. And so my organization was to look at not only P through 12, but also higher education. And in doing so, because I'm a former faculty member at Cameron University and also a student, and at that time we called it the Intanaha Club, which was a Choctaw word for council fires, but now it's Indian Club or Native American Student Association. And through those collaborations and support that we began to see that was a dire need to have a better relationship with the institution that is educates does educate and degrees most of our workforce. And so to build that relationship is moving into how we can do it in a very systemic way in that framework. And so we started with recommendations, and I think we started in 2018, and then some recommendations that we have from the summer 2019 is really quick. It's to the Jared Phillips Cameron Dean of Enrollment Management. And by the way, the composition of this committee was the Kiowas, the Comanche, the Apache, the Wichita, Delaware. Those representatives that are education directors came to almost bi-monthly meetings for an entire year to give us input. And also Mr. Wani attended one of those meetings, and also the chair at that time was Ms. Alhady and the Kiowas, and Jacob Zotai attended a lot of those meetings as well. But that 2018 is to conduct a brief summary or survey of American Indian students, hold bi-monthly meetings and open consultation with Cameron University faculty, staff, and students, soliciting input from working groups at other regional universities to convene to address similar issues, create a charge and mission statement, reviewing existing research literature to identify best practices. And so it was broken down into these target subcommittees. Number 1, recruitment for Native students, faculty and staff. Number 2, campus climate. Number 3, prevention and education. 4, bias reporting and incident protocol. And then immediate recommendations back then. It's created subcommittees to explore, analyze, provide overall recommendations of their group's work, demonstrate the university's leadership commitment to nationhood by having all members of the senior administration participate in tribal sovereignty training by fall 2023, adopt an explicit statement of values to clearly articulate and transit the university's position regarding the task force and integrate this statement of values into CU's long-range planning, adopt land acknowledgement policy and protocols that recognize the regional tribes in Southwest Oklahoma, collaborate with local tribal community-based organizations and experts regarding the delivery of culturally responsive services, education for the Cameron University community, display infusion of local tribal nation flags on campus, clarify, publicize the task force and roles of Cameron overall marketing online, collect and make public data on the number of American Indian students, tribal nations, and higher education collaborations, include Native student scholarly voices and programming and speaking engagement throughout the campus, explore the creation of a tribal liaison position at Cameron, explore task force and racial respect and fairness, align current university resources to support and fund the task force work and implementation of the recommendations, and create an MOU with the Comanche Nation. So those are all the recommendations where we started, and that was all prior to COVID-19, and there's others that came as a result and collaborated.
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to voice, as a former student, president of 3 of the student groups there, and being part of the student governing associations, that I highly recommend on government to government that this resolution would help the students down there to do exactly what you're saying. I would recommend your motion to.
Mr. Sovol, the voices of this committee, this task force, were solicited through surveys and the multiple meetings for a couple of years, and that's how this all resolved. And so, the resolution is just to support the report, but I do value the idea that it could be looked at under the concurrence or the blessings of Gamma Delta Pi, because they are a formal organization, and although a few members attended and gave blessings, I think more formally that we need to talk to them about that. So I'm open to that, Ms. Castlewood.
Mr. Vice Chair, if I can bring up a point of kind of interrogation. This Native American organization, are they considered a nonprofit organization? No. So they do not apply for an EIN? No. Okay. So could that be one of those initiates? Because whenever we create organizations like this, you're operating primarily off of fundraising. You can apply for additional grants through national counterants. But the other part to that is, so what I'm hearing is you're asking for additional fundraising for an organization that's not preemptively set up. Is that correct? Okay.
The opportunity to look at that, what are the options?
If I may, I think that there's a little bit more research and a little bit more establishment that needs to be corrected before we can move forward, and I would support the table on that.
Sure. I think that's what this is support the negotiation, the attempt. There's no basic decision. Is to support the students in the creating a Native-friendly campus.
No, understood. In listening to a lot of the wording, it didn't sound like that. It sounded like a seek for fundraising based upon the words that were mentioned by Cindy.
Thank you for the clarification.
Thank you.
So do I hear a motion on the floor?
I make a
We have one more
motion to
person.
table it after we try to set up a meeting with Cameron,
Okay.
and we can
Second.
hear from the students and faculty and the other business committee members to where we can all work together. It's not that I'm just trying to not pass it. There needs more work done.
Might I add, this has been going on since 2018, and this committee has continually set this back. This is the 3rd time that this committee has said, let's table it, let's table it, let's table it. This is not rocket science. This is just students trying to get some support. It's not financial support. It's just you guys coming to the table, and we've asked you guys to come to the table, and this has not happened. So it's very frustrating when I keep hearing educated people that have degrees that are allowing the support for people that don't have degrees. Forgive me
yet
for
you've
being
requested
upset about it,
this.
but it's not something that we can continue to do because our children are growing up. My children are going to be going to college now, and I still don't get anybody to help support the Native American Student Association of Cameron. We're not talking about these bigger universities. We're talking about our local university.
If I can preface on that, you said since 2018, but yet this organization has not established its fictitious name report, trade name report, or an EIM, which could entitle you to additional grant work and funding from everywhere.
I agree with that, and it needs support from people like you to come in and help establish that. Because the students they're not really engaged right now. I'm just the person that's the head of it to push us into the basic stuff. If you guys come in with this understanding, with what we're doing here, you guys can absolutely support them like that.
Absolutely. Bring more framework.
However it works out, but it needs to be done. This is in line, like I said, for 4 years now.
If you like, I can assist you
I would
with
love that.
applying for an EIN, fictitious name report, treatment name report, and get you entitled to those items. But there's more framework that needs to be worked out.
Okay, well, however you guys see that these happen, I won't be a student there much longer either.
Then there's the result.
Hello, or good morning. I just have one question. Has this resolution been presented to the other local tribes? The Kiowas and Apaches and the WCDs and the Fort Sill Apaches?
Good question. Yes, it has. The Kiowa leadership do plan a similar endorsement because the leadership of the Kiowa have been present at these task force meetings, and they have similar resolution coming forward.
But has it been passed?
Oh, I don't know. I don't know when they have their meetings. I know that is forthcoming.
We have a first and a second on the floor. We need to take a
Yes, we have a
vote.
motion by Alice, and I think who was the second?
Mr. Carrara,
Okay, Mr. Carrara. All in favor?
Aye.
Say aye. Motion passes.
can we do an opposed on that? I'm not sure that I heard everybody. Can you do a motion for
Okay.
all those opposed too?
All those opposed? Sustain?
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. So we have motion passed.
Yes.
Okay, thank you very much. Let's move, and I really appreciate your comments. I really do. And I know it's in the spirit of helping our students. Let me see, what resolution are we at now?
We're at
67.
number 67-2023.
Case CBC, KCA Indian Land Use Committee Representative Resolution. Let me look at that.
Would you like me to go ahead and read it?
Yes, please.
Okay.
Alice, would
Starting
you?
at the fourth whereas, the Comanche Business Committee appoints the following CBC to the KCA ILUC Committee. Mark Wumavoya, Chairman; John David Wani, Secretary Treasurer; Alice Casnavoy, Committeeman number 3; Hazel Tashaquah, Committeeman number 1, alternate. Therefore, it be resolved that the Comanche Nation Business Committee appoints the Business Committee members to serve as the KCA ILUC representatives for the Comanche Nation. This appointment will serve as a period of time that the injunction with their elected period.
I make a motion to amend the resolution.
I second it.
The Mark Muluwaya, John David Wandy, Cornell P. Wardy, and Hazel Tashaquah as the alternate.
I second that motion.
Amendment on the floor, motion by Ross Carrara to amend the resolution to include Chairman Mark Wumavoya, John David Wani, Cornell P.B. Wardy, and Hazel Tashaquah as the alternate. Seconded by Hazel Tashaquah. All in favor? Aye. All those opposed?
Aye.
One opposed? Abstain? Motion passes. Thank you very much. We'll go to the next resolution. It is number 68, 2023 Carryover Funds Resolution. Let's move to the third whereas. Whereas there are some Comanche Nation General Fund programs with 2021 fiscal year in funds and were approved by the General Council vote. And now therefore, be it resolved, the following listed programs will have these balances carried over to the respective programs. And let's see, the program, it just says, I'll just read it. 485 Diabetes Fitness Program at the amount of 278,660.00. Next one, 935 THPO. I don't know these acronyms, I'm just reading as it, at the amount of $30,000.
And that's the Tribal Historic Preservation Office.
Oh, okay, thank you. The next one is 990 Assisted Living Center at the amount of $54,164. 700, which is law enforcement, at $70,000. Be it finally resolved, the CBC hereby approves the carryover funds to the listed programs. Discussion?
I make
Motion.
a motion to approve.
Motion on the floor by Alice Castlewood, number 3. Second by Ross Carrara, number 2. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? No opposed. Motion passes. Next resolution, number 69, 2023, Realty 909 Southwest D Avenue Purchase Resolution. A resolution authorizing the Realty Department to purchase of the address is 909 Southwest D Avenue, Lawton, Oklahoma, 73507. To the third area, whereas the Comanche Nation Realty Department is entrusted with the management and acquisition of properties on behalf of the nation. And whereas the nation requires additional office space to accommodate various sections, including tribal departments, gaming, enterprise, in all relevant areas. And whereas the Realty Department has identified commercial property that meets the requirements to address the nation's needs for additional office space. And whereas the Realty Department recommends the acquisition of the following property and has entered into a purchase agreement and an extension pending an approved CBC resolution for the following property. Lot 12, Block 35, Lawton Original, AKA 909 Southwest D Avenue, Lawton, Oklahoma, 73507. Now therefore, be it resolved that the CBC hereby authorizes the Comanche Nation Realty Department to complete the purchase and authorizes the chairman, Mark Womavoya, or his designee to sign any necessary documents to take title to the property on behalf of the Comanche Nation of Oklahoma.
Make a motion to approve.
On the floor, motion,
Seconded.
Ross Carrara, committee person number 2. Do I hear a second?
Second.
Secretary Treasurer, John David Wani, second. All in favor?
Aye.
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 Opposed? Motion passes. Resolution 70, 2023 Realty Vehicle Purchase Resolution. 1, 2, 3. Third whereas, the Realty Department has requested to use funds from the land acquisitions budget to purchase vehicles for the efficient operation of their duties including replacing the existing truck used for equipment transportation and acquiring a vehicle for property visits and general use, office use, thereby eliminating the need for staff to use their personal vehicles for realty duties. And whereas the cost of both motor vehicle exceeds the $50,000 spending limit threshold set by the property and procurement guidelines, necessitating the approval of an authorized resolution. Whereas the realty department has available funds in the budget to cover this expenditure and is collaborating with the Director of Property and Procurement, who will complete both purchases upon the approval of this resolution. Now therefore, be it resolved that the Comanche Business Committee hereby authorizes the Realty Department to utilize funds from the Realty Budget Code number 355 exceeding $50,000 for the purchase of 2 motor vehicles that are essential for the continued operation of the Realty Department.
Make a motion.
Make a motion to approve.
Motion made by John Wani and second by Ross Carrara. There's a question? Excuse me, Mark.
2.
I saw that you had a grant awarded to the tribe recently for electrical vehicles. Will this be an electric vehicle or will it be a gas or diesel?
The Realty Department?
They're not here.
Anybody know?
If I'm not mistaken, they're looking for like a 2500 pickup. Due to the lands we have, it's pretty rough out there, so they need something 4x4 capability to get through all of our properties.
Okay, so that's probably another issue about the electric vehicle program, but I'll stop.
You got a question?
Yeah, I was curious, what type of vehicles are we looking at if we're looking at expenditures? I heard a max of 50,000 and then exceeding 50,000. Can you describe what type of vehicles we're surplanting for a $50,000 budget?
It will exceed the
Do we have
$50,000
a-
threshold. So we're looking at, as far as I know, one of the vehicles was a large pickup with 4x4 capability. The second vehicle, I'm not sure.
I'm good.
Okay.
So we have a motion on the floor.
And I did check with Terrence, and he stated that we have one surplus vehicle. It's an older model truck that would not serve their, what they're needing. So these vehicles are needed for the realty department.
Any other comment? So we have a first and a second. Go to a vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Unanimous. Unanimous. Motion passes. I believe that's all of the, that's all of the resolutions. So right now, we'll make time and go into new and old business. We'll give the floor to Gail Burgess about the proposed language program. Gail, could you, you have the floor.
And I requested to be put on the agenda to be able to speak with the tribal council, or for the tribal council to hear us, and to speak with CBC to make sure everyone's aware that we need to start discussing and making plans to protect our language, so that way nobody can take any action to dismantle what's been built within our nation. There's a lot of us that are working on learning the language and teaching the language, and I just hate to see anything happen to our language and the efforts that have been set forth. This is something that's been happening for a long time, building our language program department. It's been in different phases, so what we have today is the language department. And, you know, when you look at the history, you might give credit to what is now known as CLCPC. I remember as a little girl, and I'm sure a lot of people have heard me tell this story plenty of times, but as a little girl, you know, my dad had started, and he's listed as a co-founder for CLCPC, and we would be going to community centers, not just in Walters where we lived at the time, but Apache, Cache, here in Lawton. We were there with a lot of elders, you know, just hearing them talk our language, speak our language with one another, and you know, to be witness of that, it means a lot to many of us, because I know a lot of my relatives have the same story, hearing their grandparents speak it. And so what we have been trying to build here and put efforts in is, it's scary to see that there are some people that may want to dismantle that, and it may not be viewed that way on their part, but on some of us, for some of us others, that's how we feel. Because when we are losing access to things or being prevented from any type of success with our language moving forward, it's very disheartening to know that some people are putting forth those efforts to do that and prevent some of us from making progress. And so, you know, it's sad to see some people abusing their power. We need to make sure that we protect our language. There are several of us that have come together to start with this discussion. I would like to invite my friend, Mr. Narcomi, to come up here to share some of our key ideas, our key points that we would like to start discussion with.
For the record, it's Guy Narcomi. Guy Narcomi.
Marawe, the Natsa Guy Narcomi, Akitina Ikakimara, Akitina Amaaharekwa Hotoi, Akitina Akai. Sakama. It states in our Constitution that we will define, establish, and safeguard the rights, powers, and privileges of the tribe and its members. That's our Constitution. To improve the economic, moral, educational, and health status of its members. To promote in other ways the common well-being of the tribe. In the Constitution, it states, Section 7, the CBC executes leases, contracts, permits with regard to property which is exclusively owned by the Comanche Nation. It states in Section 7F, to implement, administer, and report on programs and report on progress of those programs. In the United States Native American Act of 1990, Section 8, it states, acts of suppressing and extermination directed against Native American languages and cultures are in conflict with the United States policy and determination for Native Americans. And the United Nations Declaration of the Rights of Indigenous People, the first line states, Indigenous peoples have the right to revitalize, use, develop, and transmit to future generations their history, language, and oral traditions. Part 2 states, shall take effective measures to ensure that this right is protected. 14-1 says, Indigenous peoples have the right to establish and control their educational systems. That states Indigenous people have the right to control their educational systems. We have the right to control our schools. Indigenous people have the right to the dignity and diversity of their cultures, that we're diverse within our own culture. Article 16.1, Indigenous peoples have the right to establish their own media in their own languages. They have the right to do their own work in their own languages. 31.1, Indigenous peoples have the right to maintain, control, and protect their cultural heritage. 31.1, they also have the right to maintain, control, protect, and develop their intellectual property over such cultural heritage, traditional knowledge, and traditional expressions. I'm going to read a possible resolution today, a possible resolution about Comanche language, things that we need to discuss and things that need to be put on the table. I and many of us believe that Comanche language is the Comanche Nation's intellectual property. No one has the right to come in here, use it, and abuse it at will how they want to. It's Tanumana, it's Tanatnam, it's our collective language, and it's our intellectual property. And we believe that anything that was done on company time by company employees paid with company money belongs to Comanche Nation. Ergo, belongs to Comanche citizens. So any work that was done here with Comanche Nation by employees belongs to Comanche Nation, therefore the General Counsel. So I'm going to read to you today a possible resolution. Comanche citizens seek to promote the ethical sharing of Comanche language with other enrolled members. The Comanche Nation holds a responsibility to the protection of properties, including land structures, gaming, operations, and intellectual properties. Comanche Nation is a sovereign nation, and that any individuals who sell or exchange documents without our permission from the supreme governing body of the Comanche people are liable for espionage and theft of government documents and government data. Tribal nations have the legal right to self-governance. Any interference to government operations, goals, and sovereignty are serious matters and worthy of action. Tribal nations have the privileges allowed to Comanche Nation affiliate. Start over on that one. Number 5, the privileges allowed to Comanche Nation affiliates and foreign nationals, that means non-citizens, are not to supersede nor diminish the rights and freedoms of Comanche Nation citizens. That means foreign nationals and people who are non-citizens should not overspeak us, should not oversee our powers and our freedoms as Comanche citizens. Comanche language is pivotal in the development of Comanche Nation sovereignty. Therefore, to infringe upon Comanche Nation's language rights is to directly infringe upon our sovereignty. The intellectual property, copyrights, and property of Comanche Nation citizens are the property of Comanche Nation. No one individual Comanche citizen nor subgroup represents all of Comanche language. The Comanche language is a shared intelligence to the priority of Comanche citizens with secondary sharing to world citizens. Work that is done by the Comanche Nation is work collectively owned by Comanche Nation and not authorized for distribution unless given strict written permission by the General Counsel. And that's already in our Constitution. Work done by employees with payment by Comanche Nation is the intellectual property of Comanche Nation. Comanche Nation and Comanche citizens have the right to protect their property, both physical and intellectual. Comanche Nation and Comanche citizens are sovereign and to freely operate without hindrance to quality of life or operations brought upon by any persons or sub-entity. Language processes and policies. This is the last one. Language work done for Comanche Nation is not authorized for sharing with other entities or other universities and is an infringement upon United States law stated by the United States Language Act of 1990. That is Google, you can look that up. The United Nations law, that is also Googleable, and Comanche sovereignty, that's within our Constitution. No sharing of intellectual property or distribution of that intellectual property is authorized unless given strict written legal permission by Comanche Nation and the Tribal Council. Within Comanche language, there are different dialects and methods of teaching. The Comanche General Council decides on how Comanche language is overseen. It is highly discouraged that one person oversees Comanche language. That's the end of that. With that said, there's been other instances in other tribes, not just our tribe, but other tribes, Lakota Nation, Acoma Nation, where linguists come in, take control of the language, copyright it, and then do what they want with it. And this is possible by law. It happens. So the Lakota language, the Lakota tribe had to write their own resolution protecting their language because a subgroup came in, copyrighted their language, and is now legally selling it online. You can look all this up. I'm gonna read just a few sections. Lakota Nation Resolution number 150-22. Whereas the Standing Rock, Sioux, and Tribal Council respectively and immediately request the return of all access to Lakota, Dakota language materials, recordings, transcripts, unlicensed and unauthorized publications, as well as the original associated audio, written, digital files from all academic and nonprofit institutions, to be subsequently inventoried and held for local use in the community. Based and controlled local Lakota language archival facilities are established in collaboration with the local community. Further on. Be it further resolved, the Standing Rock Sioux reject, ban, and float from our reservation the non-Lakota controlled operated language consortium and their ongoing unethical linguist-driven efforts to attack and intimidate our learners and teachers, while continually misleading our elders to believe that first language speakers grossly undercompensated and underattributed expertise will freely benefit our language learners, when in fact, the LLC products are generated for sale to our own people and to a global commercial audience without provision to protect or maintain sacred stories or knowledge or anything transferable. Lakota Nation's birthright for our children and grandchildren. That any individual or entity wishing to research and document and translate Lakota language must first go through the approval of Tribal Council. It's become such a problem nowadays that tribes are having to undergo resolutions to protect their language, essentially our copyright and our intellectual rights. So at the end of the day, that's what this is about, returning our intellectual property, returning what's rightfully ours as Comanche citizens and our birthright. Does anyone else have anything else to say that wants to share anything?
Yeah. Give her the microphone. Rita Kusum.
All here have heard me talk about our language. Over the years, I have been about it. I said everyone sitting in here has at one time or another heard me speak out loud and clear about preserving and protecting Itatanemanine. And I've been trying to listen to all of this stuff that's going on, but I tell you what, we have already been doing this since 1990 something. I can't remember the year. Yes, we have been taking care of this language. We have done everything we could possibly do to preserve, to share, and to keep it going. And there is not should not be any other entity trying to oversee what the CBC has already approved and taken care of this language. We have had that done many, many years ago through the one that Barbara Goodens has taken care of all these years. We have that. We have documentation. Anytime you need anything about the language, she's always been there to support and to give anybody anything they needed that she has available in the language. So should not be, and I have said this a long time, there should not be and does not need to be any other program aside from this Comanche language dictionary and language committee preservation that we have been doing for all these years. Geneva, myself, some of those elders that have gone on, we have worked hard on this situation to keep it and to preserve it, plus use it and share it. And there should not be anything else said about we don't share. It's up to you to come forward and take that time. Take that time to look through that dictionary. We have added more things in there. We have done a lot to preserve Itatanemanine. And it should not be any other way. And I have said it. This business committee approved that as legal for the tribe. The tribe has already got and established that. So no one else needs to come up and say they need to start something. No way. It's already been taken care of and done. So any of you others that have anything else that y'all want to add, if you want to say you want to start a program that without the language committee, then you're wrong. You're wrong to do that. I'm not doing it for any one particular person. I'm doing it to preserve what we've already got in the works that's been established and is doing a damn good job if you want to take part. It's there for you. There's tapes, there's CDs, there's the books that we have established. There's not no reason for anything else. So please, quit fighting, work together.
Morelwika, Nananiatsa, Ronald Red Elk. Since 1992, I've been a student, first of all, and then an advocate after I learned why I couldn't speak Comanche. I always wanted to speak Comanche, but in 1992, there was a class at OU that I took, and Lucille McClung was the teacher, and that sparked this advocacy I have for the language. I'm going to be a lifelong learner of the language. It's something that if you're not a first language speaker, it takes a lot of effort. And there's not a thread of truth of the CLCPC trying to take over. We encourage everybody to do something with the language. Learn one word. Say it over and over. Oh, that reminds me. I'm going to revert to my 35 years of teaching. So I want to give you a Comanche lesson. Number one, Manelwe. That's addressing one individual. Manelwe Buck. I'm talking to these two. Manelwe Ka is I'm talking to all of y'all. So if you're going to use a language, find somebody that can tell you how to greet. That's what we're all about, is teaching, learning, experiencing this beautiful language. And we share with each other. We don't exclude. We don't exclude Gail. We don't exclude Edward or all of the apprentices. We welcome them. If they want to learn the language, that's great. Continue if that's the direction you want to go, but don't tear it down. Nabihitsa ainusuka sik tabeni. And it shouldn't be, because whether you're Comanche or Ottawits or Taival, the Comanche Language and Cultural Preservation Committee welcomes all. We want everybody to speak Comanche. And that's the way we've always, I'm not speaking for myself now, I'm speaking for those first language speakers that did so much for us in our transition from 94 to now. They're gone. But I guarantee you one thing, they're rejoicing with the advancement that we have taken here in the last 4 or 5 years. The language growth is phenomenal. And as a former CBC member, my last term here, I gathered a group of young Comanches that were sharp, that were willing to move the language into tribal government. The Language Committee has always stayed away from that political turmoil that happens right here. Always, from 1994 to today, there is political turmoil. And it should not harm our growth. I was a teacher in Fort Sill Indian School for 7 years. I didn't know anything about the language. I didn't know anything about the history of the death of our language. I taught there for 6 years. I go to Riverside and teach 9 more years. But those institutions, after my experience with our first language speakers told me, that was a place that my folks lost the language because they were forced to not speak. Riverside, all of the boarding schools were that way. I didn't know that. I didn't learn that in Oklahoma history. And there's a lot of Indian history that's not taught in public schools, in universities. But if you're a true believer of the growth of the language, start speaking, every one of you. I've sat in this position and our leaders say, yeah, it's important, but do they speak it? Do they try to speak it? No. My last session was, I gave them opportunities to vote in our language, to respond in our language. They did about halfway and they quit. Now, is that the love of the language of our leaders? Every leader that I've ever spoke to about the language, oh, it's great. Do they try to learn? I'm sorry that I might be going a little overboard. I apologize if I hurt anybody's feelings, but I'll not apologize for fighting against anybody that attacks the learning and the growth of our language. Subetama.
This, I have a comment to make regarding, I don't,
Go ahead.
how I took this was that it's to protect our language, not to criticize anyone, but to protect it. And it is true. Our tribes, there's many tribes at the reunion. I went to the Shoshone reunion. It was my first time going. And they also talked about that. The Ute tribe, they are concerned about protecting their language as well because of what happened with the Sioux Nation. So this is what this is what I'm thinking is all about, right? Is protecting it. We're not.
Excuse me, Guy. Let Ms. Tusk finish, and then we'll have others on the floor.
But like I said, that's how I'm taking this, what they are presenting, and it isn't about anything other than that. So I kind of think we went off subject there for a little bit, but that's my comment.
We have other hands up.
Sure.
Carolyn, you have the floor.
Carolyn Kodaponi. I'm currently the president of the CLCPC, and I just want to say that I want to just give some facts for information, maybe for some of our relatives that are watching online and that are here. The CLCPC was established in 1994. It's a nonprofit. We had talked a little bit about a nonprofit earlier, and so it's a 501c3. But the other thing I wanted to say is the language department was planned and developed by the CLCPC, and we took a long, good process. There are many people in this room that were part of that process. We brought in our stakeholders, Native American Church, Mr. Komachi, We brought in the museum, we brought in our speakers, we brought in our, far and wide, we had Zoom meetings, we had community meetings, we met with our membership. And so it was planned for over three long years. And it wasn't just once a week. Sometimes we met with our elders and our members and our stakeholders. Sometimes we met 3 times a week. And so we planned and developed the Comanche Language Department. And so the CLCPC promotes everyone, just like Mr. Red Oak said. We promote all learners. The goal was to develop a community of speakers, and there's much more interest in the language today as a result of that. Randy Lynn Atakani, myself, and Dustin Miller were co-facilitators. We were trusted by our elders to plan and develop and facilitate the meetings. And so this resolution, I mean, has any of the communities discussed it, understand it? I think it needs to be tabled until it's brought out to our general council. And you can do that by community meetings. Thank you.
Excuse me, let me speak.
It
The
isn't a
resolution-
Or the proposal, I'm sorry, the proposal.
Exactly, it's just.
Yeah, it needs to be brought to our membership like we did for the language department, because we took 3 long years to hear all the voices. So I don't know if that's going to happen, but I would encourage it.
Gail, go ahead.
Emotions or what happened. That's all in the past. We're talking about policies that are happening right now. We have a document that says all this Geneva Navarro material is owned by Florida Atlantic University. Why does the Comanche Nation have to own that? We have documents that say it's owned by Florida University.
Okay.
We're talking about intellectual property.
Okay.
The other thing we're talking about is policies. They talk nice in here, but how they talk to us in private is a totally different thing. There's sexual harassments out, there's protective orders out, and if there's people that don't go to the
Mr.
law-
Mr. Narcombe,
There's other things to say on this side. These guys
you
have
raise
stuff
your
to
hand
say.
right there, please? I don't know your name. State your name. For the record, we need your name, please.
Mareweka Nananietsa Allison Thrash. I am a language apprentice teacher. I work for the language department. I've been with the language department since July of last year. I am incredibly grateful for the opportunity to be able to learn our language. I have come so far in the last year, and I commend the CLCPC for the work that they've done to allow this opportunity for not only myself, but for the people that will come after me that will allow me to teach, right? So we are there to expand our language. Once again, incredibly grateful for this opportunity. My question would be, hearing this out from Gail of wanting to protect our language, yes, as a language apprentice teacher, it is completely confusing to me as to why the CLCPC materials that we had been utilizing during our language apprentice teacher journey, where we're learning the language, utilizing those materials that the CLCPC provided for the language department, my question would just be, to go behind Mr. Red Oak, is why was there a separation? Why was there a line drawn just a few weeks ago? When we had been utilizing these materials to help further our knowledge of our own people's language, I'm just confused as to why, if you're there to support us, why was the division drawn? Why is all these materials locked in a room in the back of the language department?
No. All right. No. We have, Pete, point of order. We have, Carolyn, give Carolyn the, Carolyn Codapony, give her the microphone.
Will you turn your microphone on for me? Thank you.
Carolyn, continue, then we're going to take a break, please.
After the break?
Go ahead and speak,
Oh, okay.
Carolyn.
No, like I said, we had a meeting, the CLCPC had a meeting, and we decided, see how the behavior of the people down at the language department are getting up and making false accusations, and they're all over social media, and we had a 4-hour meeting and went down tediously and trying to understand what is going on, and our materials are down there, and we are in charge of protecting those archives that are speakers that are in the front of our dictionary. If you look at the front page of our dictionary, we have all those speakers that preserved our language, and they're down in the language department, and we decided that we needed to take possession of the nonprofit's materials until there is an agreement in place, because there was no agreement in place.
Okay.
We established this, established the language department.
Carolyn. Marty, you have the floor.
There were materials that went missing that the CLCPC did not have access to. The people who are responsible for the nonprofit, the board members, the people who work there, we didn't have access to our own materials. And because we didn't have access to our own materials, and the people that work here, not the CBC, because I know y'all are not in charge of day-to-day operations, but the people who work within the programs could not give us answers to why we couldn't get our drives, our materials. So we made a memo to the TA, and we did not do this blindsiding anybody. We went through all the proper channels that we thought, that we were told to, that were necessary to include everybody. We talked to who we needed to. We made a memo. We sent it to TA. I do not have it in front of me. I cannot read it word for word to you. But the fact that we did not have access to our own materials, we did not have an MOU in place, which is important to have those in place. We learned that today earlier on how important, because we didn't have that in place, we were scared because of the actions that have been going on that we would lose our materials somehow, the materials that my great-grandmother helped make, my kaku helped make, along with your father and many other people, Miss Kusawum helped make. We have all been a part of this. I've been a part of this my whole life. I was born in '93. I was one of the first kids to go through those community programs. I've been with it my whole life, to include with this woman right here from the time I was in 7th grade up until I graduated high school. We did not, and we do not mean any malice. We do not mean any harm to anybody for any reason. There's a process, and it got messed up. There was no communication because nobody would like to talk to each other. Nobody wanted to communicate. I mean, we have you here yelling out loud. We're adults, we can talk. We should be able to figure this out. But because of that reason, we made that memo, the TA agreed. The only people that had keys were property and the president of the CLCPC, until we could come and talk to y'all, you know, communicate, which is why we were here today, to figure out what we do as a nation to move forward. Not just individuals. Nobody wants that. That's not the point of any of this. But when people keep saying stuff, posting Facebook videos, tearing people down, lying about stuff, nobody's getting anywhere. Nobody's getting anywhere doing that. We have to be the communicators. This is a community effort. It's a tribe. We're a tribe. We work together. That's the only way to go forward. And that's with our language. That is with everything. We weren't dividing it. It is not what we want. I'm going to give it back to, who do you want me to give
Cindy
it to?
will have the last word. We need to bring closure, give a rest to our stenographer.
Thank you.
And then we'll,
So I just wanted to say that, you know, we are divided, and we're divided, Ms. Kusawon, because there's a person in place that has sexual harassment charges against her, and a restraining order has been filed against her. You had your chance, and, hold on. So I want you to understand, I do not stand on just frivolous information. This stuff has been talked about in many ways. We would like for Catherine Briner to be removed from all boards, from everything that we want a motion for her to do that. Our language is true. It has been standing. It has been standing.
Point of order. I'm going to bring closure to this right now. CBC, let's take a break. 5-minute break. Excuse me.
Okay.
No.
So
we're going to take a break right now.
So let me say, Ms. Kusawoon.
We'll bring closure. Bring closure to. Let's take a 5-minute break, please. Take a break.
Excuse me.
I'm off the record.
On air.
I would like to speak.
No. We're taking a break. We officially have a break.
This is
No, but you still went along with this one.
Before we have the discussion, first it is second to table the, You're right, we never made an actual motion to do it, okay. Sorry, I'm just going back into my mind, because Alice was saying we should table this conversation.
Yeah.
We didn't make any motion.
There's no motion.
Perfect, okay, yeah, start on a fresh slate, wherever you want to start.
Okay.
Perfect, sorry about that.
Comanche Nation, let's reconvene. Dustin, go ahead and give us on air. We're going to get started. All the CBC are here.
Parks and us sent a message last night.
Gail, I'm going to give you last word that we need to move into the next item. Give her the microphone, please. The microphone, please. The microphone, please. Terrence, is there a microphone? Last word, please. We need to move on.
So my last words on this is that the purpose in being on the agenda is to bring discussion. We do want to protect our language. I feel like from what some people were saying is that it sounds like I was being misunderstood, because everything that was said is exactly my goal. And some of the others that I've talked with about this, we all have similar goals. And I want to make sure everybody is aware of that. Now, there was a resolution in 2005 that was passed by General Counsel to consolidate the language. I can't remember exactly what it was, because I just seen it this morning. But I don't have the resolution number. So to centralize and consolidate all Comanche language projects funded by the Comanche Nation. So that's something that maybe we need to consider, and then again have discussion. We just want to make sure our language is protected. There's some things that there's different perception on all of this. Some of us have experienced things firsthand that made things difficult to learn or to teach, and we do not need to be bullied. We do not need to be held back from our language. And, we're all supposed to be working together in sharing and learning. That's our goal, that's our purpose. We want to make sure we as tribal members, as Comanche citizens, are protected when it comes to our language. We should be able to have youth programs who can do language things, share the language. I am Indian. They should be able to share their language, our language. We should be able to create flyers with language on it and share it without getting reprimanded for misspelling a word or having it not grammatically correct. I don't know if that's English grammar, Comanche grammar. Who makes the rules for grammatically correct? Those are things that we need to make sure that we can go ahead and be able to move forward in our language. And some of the speakers, even in the language department, they're disrespected and get corrected. And it's sad to see. It hurts. It hurts to see that. So those are things that when we say to protect our language, that's what we're talking about. Don't be disrespectful to our language speakers that we have now. Don't tell us that they're preschoolers. They're teaching or talking like preschoolers. That's not right. Don't put our people down. That's what hurts the most. And then when you don't support people teaching in our community, that hurts even more, because that's the purpose. That is our purpose, to have classes to share in our community. That's what we need to be doing, sharing.
Thank you very much, Tahawa. I want to say, I appreciate the conversation, give the voice. Milton Sovo, you have the floor. No, I'm recognizing Mr. Sovo the next. He had made a request. Please give the microphone to Mr. Sovo.
Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Chairman.
Before we move on, I'd like to say something.
All right, yes, Mr. Carrara.
So regarding the Florida University that's claiming property of our language, that's a huge issue. You know, any person, I just wrote down some notes, but any person, group, or entity that profits from the unauthorized use of our language, whether it be monetary or not, shall be notified to cease and desist from any further use. Any person, group, or entity that fails to comply shall be subject to legal action, including but not limited to restitution and damages. I like the language that was included in that potential resolution, but there needs to be some teeth on that and reprimands for unauthorized use. And I think we need to give that to our legal counsel to review so that we can have something in place where we can take action. And I'm not talking about our own language department or other groups that are promoting our language. I'm specifically talking about that are people that are using our language to profit in one way or another. And that's all I have to say.
Thank you very much, Mr. Carrara. Legal? Will, you have any comment?
So yes, I have been provided the documentation that was provided to the group that was indicating some possible claimed ownership by Florida Atlantic. So I have that, and I've taken, you know, copious notes here and plan to go back, and we'll definitely work on this. And
Let's return to this issue later on, but we
Yes.
just want to hear that out. So I appreciate that, legal
Yes.
counsel.
Yes, we are. It's absolutely. It's on the top of my list of things to do.
Okay,
when
thank
we
you
get
very
back.
much. Mr. Sovo, you have the floor.
Mr. Mr. Vice Chairman, before we leave that subject, legal counsel, I want an official document drafted for this business committee to take a look at to preserve our rights and our privileges, and make sure you give all the legal citations that were mentioned historically in your document. We mean business. We don't want our language messed with outside of our nation.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Sovo?
Thank you, sir, and thank you, committee, for giving me a moment here. There was question, like I say, about the company that I was trying to get through the tribe. It is a energy company, and the name of it is Tawitoi Energy, and what it is that name is energy from the rising sun. That company is going to look at wind, solar, thermal energy, oil and gas on, first of all, my land personally. And that is things that if you'll look across Oklahoma, there's not any of that on Indian land. And you know, that is our air, that is our natural resources. We didn't give that up in the treaties. But that's why I've opted to do that myself. I've got some funding, I've got some colleagues that are willing to help me with what we've found to be available, as well as not only bringing tax to the tribe, it will bring jobs, and a lot of the kids that are getting those backgrounds and graduating now, I hope to be putting to work. So that's basically what it is developing the energy in our reservation area. And I hope that the business committee and the tax commission and would go ahead and permit that.
Yeah, we do have representatives on the various economic development that you can touch base with. I would recommend maybe get in touch with Secretary Treasurer and put you in touch with the right people to continue that conversation.
Question?
Question, yes,
This is-
Ross Carrara.
Yes, Mr. Sullivan, what corporate structure do you have your business as?
It would be a personal LLC. And it's just like
Have
any
you
other.
already formed the company?
Yes, I've formed it. That's what I'm asking the tribe to license it. I can go in the state of Oklahoma already, but I'd rather go through the tribe and get that license to operate and act as a Comanche organization working within the reservation.
So you already filed your LLC documents through the Secretary of State?
No, I'm not. That's what I'm saying. I'm not filing it through the state. I want to file it under the tribe as a Comanche LLC, my personal company, rather than go to the state, because I don't want to put revenue in the state. I would rather put it in the tribe. And it's not anything to do with the tribe or the enterprise group or anything else. It's just like me going into carpentry or building houses or building roads or heavy equipment, or it's my own personal company, my own personal doing, and that's basically what my PhD is economic development and natural resource development.
Yeah.
Well, if you haven't filed with the Secretary of State, then it's not officially a company, it's just an idea. Do you have operating agreement? Do you have bylaws?
Yes, that's what I'm saying. I want to file it as a Comanche LLC, not in Oklahoma. That's the reason it's not filed in Oklahoma. It will be
So you
official
drafted-
after,
You have a draft operating agreement and bylaws?
yes. But I have,
Okay, can you provide the drafts of those?
well, your codes and ordinance just asked for that application. It didn't ask for that other stuff.
Well, we can't do business with a company that doesn't exist.
You're not going to do business with, I'm going to do business myself within the reservation. I'm not doing it with the tribe.
Didn't you just say you wanted to be a tribal LLC?
This LLC, if you'll look at your codes at the tax commission, all it is a license for me to be a Comanche LLC. It's not asking your permission. It's not asking to go to work for you, or it's just saying that I am licensed within the Comanche Nation under the tax commission. And I filled out the form. Is basically the same as what you do at the state. And all you need to do, well, in fact, the business committee, and it was set up that way to stay away from this. The executive director with the tax commission is the one that's authorized to sign those, but the Chairman Nelson pulled it back from him and put it under the committee for temporary time. I think they had an acting, and he, why he pulled it back, I don't know, but it's actually the authority is with that executive director. Y'all wouldn't even be messing with it if it was where it's supposed to be, but that's the reason I've come to the committee, because y'all are acting right now. And it's basically this, like I say, the same application and information that the Oklahoma State asks for is what I've given y'all. All I need is a signature to be that LLC. And like I say, it's not for the tribe, it's not with the tribe, it's not working for the tribe. It's only being a licensed company working within the reservation. I can go to the other tribes and do it, but I want to do it here in this Comanche Nation.
We've lost Ross.
CBC, any comment?
And they said you need more, and that's why I'm here. Well, what information do you need other than, what you've already got?
Yeah, that
So
was
Milton-
handled, Mr. Fox, that was handled down to the tax commission. Well, why don't you speak? to
Yes. So when I was there, from my understanding, we received that LLC, the authority. It was mainly for Comanche-owned businesses. I did
Right, and that's
ask.
what I am.
Correct. Well, Comanche Nation-owned businesses. I did speak with Nadia at our last meeting to ask if we have licensed any individual, and from my recollection, I don't think we have. So this is new territory. I don't recall what the ordinance stated. I'd like to see that, and that's something that I requested from Nadia. I'll be getting those Monday morning. Mainly, we just want to make sure we're following the ordinance.
Okay, that's fine.
We're not denying it. It's just, we want to make sure that the policies, we're following those steps.
Okay.
The CBC will make the decision, because most of the times, you understand, when you apply for an LLC with the state, they request to have, your bylaws, how you function, who's in charge. That's things that I think it would be important for us to have. But again, it's something that we need to look at the ordinance, and then if they need to be changed or updated, then we can act on that. So we would appreciate, I'm speaking for the CBC, if you would come to the next tax commission meeting.
Okay.
Because if there is any questions, then we can go ahead and hash that out and get you set up.
All right.
That is a good recommendation, and how we can coordinate that with Shandell.
That date should be July 20th.
So from there, we'll take it up and
He'll
explore
speak-
this.
Yeah, he'll speak to the tax commission and the CBC in
Okay,
regards to that.
And she'll inform you of the date and time, things like, so we'll put it on the agenda. Appreciate that.
Gonna
Mr.
speak now?
Zeminski.
Yes, I'm Richard Saminsky, 80 Wittiqua.
Will you spell your name for me, please?
Which one?
Your last name, your entire last name?
ATETEWTHTA
K-E-W.
ATETEWTHTA
Thank you.
I'm a landowner, 160 acres. I'm 4.5 miles northwest of both them hotels. I've got, the Marriott wants to do business with the tribe, the Hilton wants to do business with the tribe, and Hard Rock Cafe wants to do business with the tribe. What I want to do is set up a meet with CBC. It's Comanche Trust Land. You'll draw revenue off these corporations. The reason I want them corporations down there, I want to build a stadium, seat 30,000 people. The reason I had to file a complaint with the governor, that was a racketeering judge. They found my house deed 7.5 years later in Stillwater. Then they went over to the area office and signed my name to all those land documents. That's why I told Deb Highland when she was here. I filed a complaint with the Secretary of Interior. It's all agreed for that land.
Mr. Zeminski, at the same process, if you could get in touch with Shandell, we'll make an appointment of the appropriate entity meeting.
Yeah.
And then we'll see what it can do, put you into the agenda.
I need to get.
Thank you very much.
I need to get the addresses of every one of y'all, because I can get
Shandell,
hold
could
of you.
you get in touch with Mr. Zeminski, and then we'll go from there.
And please provide any letter of intents from those companies that you mentioned.
Okay. Thank you very much. Did you have?
Yes, I'm sorry, just a point of new business and just looking for some more
Could
consistency.
you state your name for the?
Hi, Brittany Adovich. You're welcome. I noticed that we have one of our committee members via Zoom, but I thought from the last meeting that there were some inconsistencies with regards to how we would receive quorum with Zoom from the committee member. He was supposed to be attending the meetings in person. I know that Mike Burgess made a point of contact on that one. Can you tell me why the committee member is joining via Zoom?
There was a motion on the floor, and I think at the last one to presume that, and then we had that our legal counsel look at that resolution.
So that motion was not resolved, and we're just going to continue to meet on Zoom? Because I didn't recall it being passed. I reviewed the meeting notes from last because they're displayed online, but I don't remember that being a point of resolution.
Yeah, I think that's ongoing. We're going to have a discussion with the legal counsel on that resolution.
Okay.
I'd like to motion to move into executive session. Do I hear a motion?
Before that, can we get an update from legal counsel regarding the official reports? Did he get a response from his team as to why it was removed?
Yeah, so I was told the reports were presented as a motion and not a resolution, and the proper procedure was to be presented as a resolution, and they were not.
Okay, well, but still, removing it from the agenda is taking action outside of the legal quorum.
So
Which can't be done. So we need to continue and do the official reports as previous. The chairman can forego his monthly report and do it next month, do July and August.
So the chairman has the authority to set the agenda, and so he did set the agenda, and that included the removal of those reports. So he has that authority to do that.
Additionally, Alice made the motion to accept the agenda.
Was it 2 weeks prior to?
I'm sorry, I could not hear the speaker.
What, was it 2 weeks prior to our meeting?
I don't know when they were removed. I just know that they were removed. and
Shandell,
that-
could you answer that?
Yeah, I didn't get the booklets and the agenda ready till last Friday after our all-entity meeting, and I did it that day. He told me to.
Okay, so.
Well, why weren't we informed?
He didn't meet the 2-week deadline, so it shouldn't have been removed.
Committee member Carrera, Alice made the motion to accept the agenda as stated. There was no oppose on that item, so essentially you voted for
Did
that.
I make a motion to amend the agenda?
No, you did not, sir. You passed it.
So, and that is correct. There was a motion to accept the agenda. It passed completely, so that's really a closed topic. The agenda was set at the beginning.
Thanks for your opinion, but we can handle our business.
Thank you for joining us via Zoom, sir.
CBC, your pleasure.
Hello?
You make a motion.
Hey, before y'all adjourn, can I have just a second before y'all adjourn?
Let us finish this business
Yeah,
first.
okay.
You have
We
a-
weren't, at all entity, we didn't get an agenda or anything. So all we got was like the request, because I was looking for it myself this week. So I didn't, usually they print one of these out and we approve it, and there wasn't anything, so.
I did
Yeah,
go
because
over.
We have board appointments that we have to make. Because we have a new committee person. We need to do business.
Were those,
For the nation.
Legal, we do have the power to make a motion to amend the monthly meeting, correct? We can go
Yes.
back.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, so I make a motion to amend the agenda to include board appointments.
So on the floor, we have a motion by Ross Carrara. Committee person number 2, to amend the agenda to include the board appointments. And these are the boards that the CBC sit on. Do I hear a second?
I second.
Second motion by Hazel Tascoa, the committee woman number 1. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All opposed? Sustained? 1, 2, 3.
There were no objections, correct?
Any objections? Motion passes. Motion passes. Motion passes. Mr. Carrar, would you entertain at this point?
Yes, so one of the boards that we already covered, the KCA, because our committee person 4 previously sat on 3 different boards, CalCAF, KCA, Mansion Enterprises, those seats are open and those board appointments need to be completed. So since we already addressed the KCA, next would be CalCAF.
Yeah, let's just go down the line.
Actually, your motion was for, it was for the board reports. So at this time, then those individuals need to give their board reports.
Both. Both is fine, board reports and board appointments. If I have to amend my motion, so be it.
I would amend it if I were you.
Amend the motion.
Yeah.
Motion.
Okay, amend my motion to include both the official reports and board appointments.
I second that.
Motion on the floor to amend the board appointments and
Second it.
the, let's see, the reports. Is that right? Okay, on the floor, that was motion by Ross Carrabra, second by Hazel Tassaquan. All in favor? Say aye.
Aye.
Ha. 1, 2, 3. Opposed? No opposed. Okay, so we can continue, Mr. Carrara.
Okay, do you want to do the reports first?
Yeah, let's go ahead and, we have already settled with the KCA Land Use Committee appointments. That was in the resolution prior. So let's go down the row for all the other data.
Alice, do you want to give a report for the KCA? Or would you like to
Sure,
do
I can
that?
do that.
Yeah.
Sure. We did we had our monthly meeting. We are still looking for an executive director. We reviewed a couple of leases and requested a listing of all the leases, revenues, report for all the leases from the BIA. And that was just yesterday. That's it for KCA. Did you want me to go ahead and do my IHS one?
Yeah, for IHS.
We meet on the first Thursday of the month on Zoom. We receive the Strong Heart Study updates, the service unit reports for Lawton, Anadarko, and Carnegie. They're having a sports physical clinic for kids on July 28th and August the 1st. Parents need to bring in the physical form that is needed to be filled out, and you can call 580-354-5501 in order to schedule for your child's sports physical. And that's all for the IHS.
Okay, thank you. What's Nick's report? Nick's report.
Uh-huh.
Yes, Mr. Tahawa, Edward Tahawa.
I was talking with my daughter, and she said that she's a nurse up there. Sometimes there's a need, sometimes for ambulance service, where they don't have an ambulance to run a patient to the city. They have to rely on a helicopter to get them up there. And I just wanted to bring it to y'all's attention that I don't know if that's the IHS's responsibility or if that could be done through our fire department over here. But if that's some way our tribe could look into that and try to get our Indian Health Service some relief on their
Transporting.
yeah, emergency needs.
Okay.
That's all.
Mr. Chairman?
Yes, sir.
I was in the ER here in the back and.
Give the microphone, please.
I want to say we've got an excellent ER now down there with the group they've got in there, but they were telling me that they were looking for a tribe to partner with to not only develop the ambulance service, but the air evac. They were both, I believe they had some grant monies and funding monies, but they needed a tribe to partner with.
Next report.
Mr. Silva, who was that with?
They were the ER group. I was talking to the ER director, the doctor down there, I can't remember her name.
Where was this at?
Indian Health Service.
Indian Health, okay, okay.
I'm a EMT, EMR. I did about 20 runs transporting Indian people. The lady of ER at Indian Hospital said we definitely need an ambulance. To run an ambulance, you got to have at least an EMT. So if you could get with the people at the IHS at Indian Hospital, because she told me that they desperately need that. Because that one day we did 20 runs at Lawton Indian Hospital, and they needed to go to Oklahoma City. And I would see about getting a grant for an ambulance. I know Cable's an EMT, I'm an EMT, and you've got, with that grant, you have your own ambulance service. You can transport your people. Like we go to Southwest Memorial, take them to Oklahoma City. But that grant for an ambulance would definitely be a good thing for y'all. Y'all got a grant for the fire truck? Yeah. So that's all I can say on that.
We do have an EMT with our fire program.
Just sit it on that table.
Yeah, there we go. Thank you very much, Alice, for that update. What is our next report?
I believe cow calf, but I don't know. Robert's gone, so I don't know who can do that update. If you have any updates, or John David,
I don't.
then we can motion to go into executive session if you'd like.
No.
We still
that's
have,
vacant.
Oh,
We
okay,
still
I
have the
apologize,
vacancies.
you're right.
Yeah, it's a vacant position. What,
There's still Comanche Nation Enterprises.
yeah.
Well, per the charter, the enterprise is required to give an annual update, and that update was given at the annual meeting Saturday, February 25th. We are conducting, we're looking over our applicants who applied for the CEO position at this time.
That was the enterprise report.
And then Robert was on enterprises.
He was on that, okay. What's our next,
The last one would be Housing Authority,
yeah,
and that's what all the business committee members are on. We did receive 29 calls from the, Housing Authority received 29 calls for the repairs for the storm damage a few weeks ago. Housing was approved for the 9th consecutive year for the ICDBG grant. They'll be receiving $2 million, and it is going to be used to renovate 27 units. These are going to be for, I believe 5 homes are going to be adding a bedroom, bathroom, and I believe air conditioning units to alleviate overcrowding in their homes.
Thank you for the update for the housing. Is there any other
Well,
reports?
the only other reports would be for the vice chairman and then the secretary treasurer to give your reports of what you've been doing for the month
Okay.
of June.
I could go real quickly.
Yeah, I'll be glad to give my report. Completed our financial reviews, met with CPA, and we went through all the accounts, submitted detailed financial reports to the CBC at the last all entities meetings, so they received a full accounting of all the expenditures and operations that we have ongoing. Been looking into the needs of some of our entities. Some of our entities, they need updating. They need some additional policy revisions from the financial standpoint. And also been meeting with the director, CEO of gaming on the possibility of generating revenues to upgrade our casinos, which are in very bad condition, need to be repaired. So we're working on that very closely. And soon we'll have a report, a detailed report, that we'll provide to our Comanche people so that you understand what we'll be accomplishing. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Vice Chair reports, real brief. I've attended all the all entity, all the board meetings that I'm responsible for. We attended also the Tribal Self-Government Conference this week. Number of CBC members and administration in Tulsa at the River Spirit or something casino. Spoke at the TED in the summer camp for Riverside Indian School. That was a STEM focus on the topic. I talked about nationhood, creating nationhood, and also I talked to more of the professionals about metaphysics of presence. Attended the Comanche Nation Comanche Forum sponsored by Crow and Dunleavy at the Lawton Convention Center at the Garden Inn. Attended the Cameron University Task Force Report meeting hosted by Dr. Jarrett Phillips, Dean of Enrollment Management. Spoke at this year's symposium for sovereignty in Oklahoma City. My topic was land grant higher education institutions in the state of Oklahoma. Attended the Comanche Academy quarterly consultation as a sponsor. Attended the anniversary of Spur Casino. I think it was last Saturday, and spoke at the training session of the AAV Wellness Center session at the Grants Casino. My topic was neuro decolonization. And tonight I'll be speaking at the SB 429 celebration in Oklahoma City. That's the Native Regalia override that the CBC's supported through a resolution act last month. So just wanted to share with you, it's been a very busy month. And I appreciate everybody being there and being a part of the work that we do to try to advance our profile of nationhood in the Comanche Nation. So I think, Mr. Corrauer, do we need to focus on the board appointments continue?
Yes, sir.
Okay, well, who would like to lead the discussion?
So for CalCAF, I'll make a motion to appoint committee person 1, Rachel Tashqua, as board member.
Anybody else?
Second it.
Second. All in favor? Say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Hazel, you're on the CalCAF. How many representatives do we need on this committee?
It's just the one.
Just one?
Just the one.
Okay. All right, what's the next What's the next board?
Enterprise.
Enterprise,
one.
okay. Enterprise.
Motion to have Secretary Treasurer John David Wani and committee person number 4, Jordan Fox, as board members.
On the motion to recommend that John David Wani and Jordan Fox to be on the Enterprise Board, is that correct?
That's correct.
Okay, that's a motion. Do I hear a second?
Second.
Second by Hazel Tasqua. All in favor? Say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed? Abstain? Motion passed. Next, what's the next?
We already did KCA.
Yeah, we already did KCA, we did
Housing.
CalCAF, we did Enterprise.
Housing would be your last one, sir.
Okay.
Housing's already done.
Yeah.
Oh, the swearing in, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we don't need a motion.
The health board, we need to
Okay.
address that.
Is that the IHS?
Yes.
Correct.
Okay, IHS Health Board? Anybody?
It's on Zoom. It's right up your alley, Ross.
Is there any nominations for the representative for the Indian Health Service, Health Board?
I'll nominate Hazel Tasqua.
On the floor is to nominate Hazel Tasqua. Do I hear a second?
I'll second.
Second by Jordan Fox. All in favor, say aye. Aye. All opposed? Motion passed. Any more board representations?
No, I think you got them covered, sir.
Okay, thank you very much, Adele. That concludes the reports and the board membership, the composition, as we move forward with the new representatives.
I make a motion to go into executive session.
Motion on the floor to move into, excuse me, before we do that, I was going to give a comment to the floor to Rita, if you don't mind.
I have a comment and a concern. I know that there's a lot of people that frown when you say birds or eagles or whatever, but the eagle is very sacred and very powerful, and all nations, all native nations revere this bird. We have a place over here in Surreal that actually they're international, famous for taking care of these birds and breeding them and feeding them and taking care of them. And we were there this weekend. My family was here from out of state, and they wanted to go meet the gentleman down there and see the birds. We had a very, very long and very good meeting with him. He's very knowledgeable about our history, Comanche history, about different families and different things about the tribe. And we had a very good visit with him. And he told us, and what really appalled me was he said that our chairman tore up a contract about us not wanting to be a part of taking care of the birds or being a representative tribe to the people that are taking care of the birds. The repository. And I just wonder why he did that without the consent of letting the whole tribe know that he did this. Is that possible that he can go and do whatever he wants to without letting the tribe know that these are important issues? This is a very important thing. Maybe there's a lot of reasons why nobody wants to. We're not saying they don't want us to give them any money for anything. They just want to know why we cannot represent them. Why can't the tribe acknowledge that these birds are sacred and they're on command in our Comanche territory to being taken care of? And I would think we would want to acknowledge and be a part of these things that are going on. It's just like anything else that we do. They are a part of our heritage. These eagles are a part of our lives. Anything we do, we use feathers to fan each other off. We use this sacred bird as a representative. Why are we not acknowledging this beautiful place over here as Surreal that's a haven for our birds? I just wonder why the tribe has ignored it or doesn't want to be a part of. I don't understand that. So I'm an elder, and I understand how these things, as long as I can remember, my great-grandfather using eagle feathers to fan people off, to make them well, make them feel better. Why do we not continue to support this? I don't know. I just have a question. I just question it because we were there visiting, and he told us this, and my children were kind of wondering, asking me, I don't know why the tribe doesn't want to at least acknowledge that it is a part of our heritage somewhere along the line. So
Thank you very much. I'm not familiar with such action from the chairman, and I have no other than
Why
response
does
to
he
that.
have authority to do it upon himself, to take us from the repository itself? And we're the only nation ever to decline that honor. It's an honor. It's an honor to do that. And he did that. He tore up the contract.
I'm sorry.
That was,
Excuse me, Chandel, could you give voice to this?
some of our current CBC members were not in office at that time. This was done in the past administration, but I believe the vote, they discussed it in executive session, and the vote was no, to not add them to the, I guess, the budget, or to not assist them.
And I think a part of that, Shendel, correct me if I'm wrong, but there was legal implications on if something happened to those birds.
Right, it was
and
like
the tribe would be held liable.
Fish and Wildlife, something like, they weren't licensed, I believe, so the nation didn't want to be held responsible. Now, this was in the past. I don't even know if our chairman was the chairman at the time. It may have been Chairman Nelson.
Yes, it was
Yeah.
Chairman Nelson.
Can we go back and
We can look at the transcript from back when and then see what exactly, what happened. Because I don't recall that. I think it might have been 2 years ago, 3 years ago.
It's been some time. I believe they could also come, I think they told them to come to general council, but our annual meeting. I don't know if they ever did. But I know that was discussed as well.
An ongoing thing
It
about
has.
everyone wanting to ignore SIA
Right.
and what they represent.
But I can provide this, I can go back and look at the minutes and provide the CBC with an update, because the current CBC were not in office at that time.
You know, that's something I'm not.
This should go to general council. There's people out here that revere, and it's our sanctuary.
Yeah.
Come on, people.
When
Get on
Shandell
board.
gets that information, we'll definitely, make sure we bring it forward to the next CBC meeting so the public is aware. I know it's been a while. It has been discussed. It wasn't just as swift as Chairman ripped up the contract. There was more to it. I know that those meetings, they continually talked about that monthly.
Because I know we were there. We helped do the peyote. You know, when they go and get the peyote and bring it to SIA, we sat there for days going through the buttons, drying them, fixing them for the churches, for the our native churches to use. That's not the only thing that they do is the birds. It's everything that we revere as a tribe.
Thank you, Mr. Fox. That was a good recommendation. You know, we continue this at a general council as we approach it. Councilman Boyd, we can recognize your motion to go into executive session. Do I hear a second? Second by Secretary Treasurer. All in favor? Aye. Okay, it passes. We are going to move into an executive session. So, Mr. Naito, if you can help escort people out, and we'll take a 5-minute break.